All right, Shalom. First, I start by saying all praise to Yahweh, Bashim Shai, Bashim Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. As you can see, this is a PBS News weekend full episode March 25th. And I'm going to go ahead and play the clip, and I'm going to add some precepts.
The women and men of the U.S. military already have some of the most dangerous jobs in the world, putting themselves in harm's way. And a new Pentagon study reveals that the military has a higher risk of another danger, cancer. Allie Rogan has more.
The unprecedented study was commissioned by Congress in 2021. It followed nearly 1 million service members who flew on or worked on military aircraft between 1992 and 2017. It found that military pilots and the ground crews who helped them were at greater risk of developing cancer of any kind compared to the general U.S. population. Air crews suffered an 87% higher rate of melanoma. Men were 16% likelier to get prostate cancer, and women were 16% more likely to get breast cancer. Ground crews had a 19% higher rate of cancers of the brain and nervous system, a 15% higher rate of thyroid cancer, and a 9% higher likelihood of kidney or renal cancers. Joining me here to discuss is Tara Kopp, Pentagon and National Security reporter for the Associated Press. Tara, thank you so much for being here. You've been speaking over the years to families and to service members who have long been calling for this study. What are they telling you now that it's out?
They were blown away. There's a sense of relief. There's a sense of frustration as to why this took so long. There are pilots who've been going to their doctors for years saying, I flew, there's got to be something there. Or they weren't detected in time to save their lives. When this study finally came out, it's like this first tool now that these pilots and these ground crews can take and say, let's check.
And you have gotten to know a lot of them very well, including one in particular. His name is Boot Hill, the late Boot Hill, and he really spearheaded this study. Tell me about him.
So Commander Thomas Boot Hill means a lot to me. He was kind of the heart of this. Fighter pilots can be very closed. They tend to be very private. I haven't met many that just love talking to the press. So it took us like 6 months probably to warm up to each other on the phone and in emails to where I really got to hear his story. Once he was diagnosed, once he started to see his friends dying, he literally created an Excel spreadsheet, name by name, of Tomcat pilots, that same F-14 that was so popular in Top Gun, and just looking at all the names and all the commanding officers who had been diagnosed, and then started to reach out to other airframes. And by the time he passed, he had created a list of everybody from 1985 to 2001 who had been diagnosed with cancer.
And this study didn't actually look at the causes of these increased risks of cancer, but certainly the people who have been affected by it have their own theories, well-founded theories. What have you learned about that?
So cause is always the hardest thing. You know, you have a lifetime of exposures. Maybe you have a genetic proclivity to cancer, or maybe you smoked, or maybe you drank, or maybe you were exposed to something in the environment that lead to cancer. But with pilots in particular, there seems to be something that they are getting exposed to. You see a lot of melanoma, and you know, a lot of the studies already done say, okay, well, they are flying and they're getting exposed to more radiation that way. But what about the brain cancers? What about the thyroid cancer? And so there are other things in the cockpit, whether it's radiation from the radars or the power sources to those radars, or whether it's possibly the jet fuel or fumes, or when they have to clean parts, they have to use very toxic solvents. And so there just needs to be more work done to see, you know, what may be behind this.
And in fact, there is going to be more work done. The next step, Congress has to conduct a larger study looking at the causes. Why did this have to be done in 2 phases like this?
That was kind of the same question I was asking. You know, when I saw the way it was constructed, I think it was to get buy-in. Every single time with a piece of legislation, you'll often see a study required first. That's usually because it's a lot easier for members to buy in on a study than it is to immediately buy in on a, we need to fix this because these guys are suffering. They have their study now. They know the rates are higher. And this next study is going to be exhaustive. You know, do you do just the cockpit? Do you do an entire aircraft carrier that has its own massive radars, that has jet fuel that moves through the air and water systems? So that's really going to be a challenge for Congress. How expensive do you want this to be? How long do you want it to take? And for these military families, they're running out of time. Finding out the why will be important to protect the next generation of pilots, but what they need right now is help for the current generation.
One thing I found interesting is that the study found that even though the rates of cancer were higher, the survival rates were also higher. Why is that?
They're generally in better shape, and they also have to go to required medical checkups. So they were getting screened regularly and earlier. One of the things that the Pentagon actually has to do now is has to go pull from VA data and from state cancer registries, because there are a lot of people that once they leave the military, they don't keep going to the VA for healthcare, or because they didn't retire as an officer, 20 years in service, they're not getting the military's healthcare system. So they weren't captured in this. And the Pentagon even said in its study, once we have this bigger, universe of people, these numbers may be even worse.
Stunning to think about. Tara Kopp with the Associated Press, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Preventative medical care can be a key tool in controlling.
Right, so I just want to get at that point. 1 second. I don't really have these in any order, but as far as the whole cancer situation goes, the U.S. Um, Army and the things that these troops do work around do give them cancer. Um, and they even have some of the munitions that came out years ago, man. I think it's when they went into Libya that causes cancer, and they were selling some of those weapons to the rebels in Libya. But the U.S. Um, doesn't treat its soldiers right. One, two. Besides just being in the army and catching cancer from the things that you are surrounded by, you got the chromium 6 in the water. You got the toxic air for the that breaks down the immune system, the chemtrails, etc. Man, so this white man, this Edomite, is basically the devil. But all of it is being done um, by the Lord, man. This information comes out because it's the Lord uncovering the wickedness of this devil, man. He'll have it to where you be exposed to radiation on them ships in small amounts, and to where you won't catch cancer until later on down the line, man. So Esau be planning this stuff out, you know, and he be knowing what he be doing, basically, man. It's just the people that don't know nothing, and just be going with it and whatnot. Number one reason why people even join in to the army, military, and etc. The Air Force is because of the money. They don't never just join just because they really want to fight for this country, man. Esau got everything planned out and set up. So I'm gonna start with this precept. This is hold on, it's like okay, yeah, Salakia. This is Micah. chapter 2, verse 1. Woe, meaning destruction, to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands, right? So the elites got the power to put these plans in motion to where, you might not die right off, even though you're exposed to radiation. You might die later on down the line, and they, lie to you and tell you that, it's so small that it's harmful and get all these different excuses to make you believe to where everything is safe, but that's not the only thing that's giving you cancer or whatnot. But it's all of you. How about Shema shot? But it's destruction unto them, man. The elites, because they're the devil, man. A lot of these people that's in these positions really just be sacrifices. And, they do a lot of witchcraft um, in the army also, man. Okay, verse 2, it says, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away, right? And start with the Israelites, man. They took our land and took it by violence, man. You know, so they oppress a man in this house, even a man and his heritage, right? And got us following after their laws, statutes, and commandments, man. They destroyed the nation of Israel, man, even by using our own people, man, to help do it. But this is the spirit of Esau, man. He's in everybody's country and everything, also. Not just Israel. This applies to the other nations, but we the number one, man, because we the Lord's chosen people. It said, therefore, thus said the Lord Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil. Right? Because the ultimately what's gonna happen is the US Army is gonna be destroyed. America's gonna be destroyed, man. One, first off, but you being in that army, you fighting against Yahweh Shema Shai, and that's gonna be unto your destruction also, man. So, everything's been done by the Lord, man. Jake, the Lord will probably be killing Jake's off with that cancer and stuff in the army. Besides being in the army, you working for the beast. The second Ezra 15 and 49, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, war, and pestilence. Pestilence represents diseases, man. To waste thy house with destruction and death. So it's all being controlled by Yahweh Shema Shai, man. And the Lord is using Esau as the tool, you know. This is Sirach, chapter 26, verse 28. There be two things that grieve my heart, and the third maketh me angry. A man of war that suffereth poverty, which what main reason why they created the VA offices for veterans, guys that's been in the army, and they be giving them benefits and everything when they get back over here, but they're not really giving them like the real spoils of war, man. These guys go over there and they sacrifice their lives and come back with missing limbs, etc. Mind all messed up, but they don't be really getting any aid and assistance when they get back over here, just a little bit, man. And that's only for some of them, man. But that's what happens when you deal with the U.S. Um, um, the U.S. Army. Surah 26 and 28, there be two things that grieve my heart, and the third maketh me angry, a man of war that suffereth poverty. Right, yeah, a lot of these guys that's veterans out here homeless and stuff too, man. And men of understanding that are not set by, and that's really for the apostles, the teachers of the gospel, man, the teachers of the truth, man. Only the elect gonna make it, man. It's not as a 2/3 that's gonna be destroyed in Israel, man. That don't want to take heed and don't want to adhere to the scriptures and can care less about what's being said, man. Those are the ones that's really dying from a lot of these diseases that's in the army, man. Or the Air Force. It says, "And one that returneth from righteousness to sin, the Lord prepares such, and one for the swore." And that's guys that came into the truth and then went back into the world, man. The Lord ain't dealing with nobody that's coming in the truth and walking back out. Psalms 145 and 20, the Lord Yahweh preserveth all them that love him, but all the wicked will he destroy. Psalms 145, verse 18, the Lord is nigh unto all them that call upon him through his name, to all that call upon him in truth. Right, so the Lord is going to deal and protect his, man, the ones that's, dealing in truth with him. Everybody else that's getting caught up in events such as this, that's of his people, he just destroying them, man. This is John chapter 10, verse 10. The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and destroy. And that's Esau. He used the military to do that, man. I am come that they might have life, right, through the truth, and that they may have it more abundantly. Right, man. So that's Esau's spirit, man. That's in this military, man. But the Lord is judging these people in this military by him, you know. Let's Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, which is his philosophies, man. He is a proud man. Neither keepeth at home who enlarges his desire as hell. Right, he's in everybody else's country with his military. He got his military doctrine. He has a way that he goes about taking down nations. Um, via using his military, man. You know, he was blessed with the sword to do so. You know, but the Lord is still judging him, man. You know, neither keepeth at home who enlarges his desire as hell and is as death. You know, and that's Esau's spirit, man. He'll even take his own out in the process, man. A lot of these people be sacrifices, man, in this army, and cannot be satisfied, but gathered unto him all nations, which over here in America, all all nations are here. This is called the melting pot, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe, meaning destruction, to him that increaseth that which is not his. That's everybody else's lands. You know, they trying to bring this new world order, and they trying to take down countries in the process. Libya was the first one, but you see that country is now uh, and ain't nothing but hell going on in that country. It isn't as a country anymore. You know, it said, woe, meaning destruction, to him that increases that which is not his. Right, man. And these nations are starting to rise up against America, man. You know, Russia is one of the number one that's rising up against America, man. You know, it says, how long, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay meaning thick debt. You know, that's why the nations are getting rid of the U.S. currency, man. You know, eventually Esau's military is going to be destroyed. You know, but that's going to be when Yahushua returns, man. This is Sirach, verse 12. Nope, chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness, man. And it's for our people that sit in the army, man. These Edomites are our enemies, and you fighting in his military and dying by way of these cancers and stuff because you fighting against. I mean, you because you basically siding with your enemy and going to fight against Yahweh Shai. You're in there now, and you're going through the same thing. You know, you're going to end up fighting against Yahweh Shai, man. It's Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusted, so is his wickedness, man. You know, so you know, you would think you're safe in the army and got good benefits, and you know, you uh patriot for this country and being well taken care of, you know, but you don't know that they really giving you cancer through these devices and stuff that you're around while you're in this military, man. You know. All right. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end it off with that. That being said, call Allah Yahbashmal Shai, them honors to the elders and apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. Shalom.